Good morning, Elite. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Good Morning Elite right here live on Twitch. On behalf of Elite POV, you guys know what it means. It's Saturday morning, here to talk some AEW Rampage, but we're also joined by a special guest on this Saturday morning to talk about AEW Rampage. None other than from the Mat Men podcast and the Wrestling Observer, Andrew Zarian. What's going on, my friend?
I'm here.
You're here.
What's going on, guys?
Nice shirt. NWO.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, welcome to your escape.
Yeah, literally
for your crazy day.
the only non-WWE conversations you'll have all day.
Yeah, I'm a WWE show, man. I get paid by their PR department to put out stories, and you know, and I just happen to be on an AEW podcast today just to talk about WWE and how Cody's in the Rumble.
Yeah.
Well, you're saying
Andrew
the dirt
actually
sheets are wrong?
texted me. Andrew texted me and said, "I need a cover up to cover up that WWE pays me to talk. Can I just come? I know you do an AEW show. Can we just?
we
can I just come
paid
on real
him.
quick?"
We paid him to hire the paying that he gets from WWE.
Yeah.
Everyone wonders who's running NXT right now. It's Andrew.
Yeah, listen, WWE's PR department just emailed me. They're like, listen, you need to do something about your image, man. They're starting to figure it out. Go on this. Here's a link. It's called Good Morning Elite. You got to go on this Saturday at 10. You got to be on the show. Royal Rumble weekend.
WWE knows who we are. Is it all the hate tweets we send them?
Yeah.
Anyways.
WWE on Fox blocked me.
Oh,
Did they?
Did you?
Yeah, I said free Ali, and I got
so,
blocked.
yeah.
I tried, man. They didn't block me. I wasn't important enough. I didn't hit the algorithm.
Anyways, guys, welcome back to the show. This is where we talk. This is episode 4. This is where we talk about everything AEW Rampage from last night. Last night was actually another good episode of Rampage. But we're gonna do a little show a little bit different this time because we do have a special guest with Andrew Zarian. We're kind of just gonna jibber jabber about the show, no show rundown, just kind of go back and forth a little bit. I got one important question to start with, Andrew, and it's going to be geared towards you.
All right, cool.
Because this question's been going around Twitter the last couple of days. It's driving me nuts. Do you know who Danhausen is? Because apparently Twitter doesn't know.
Apparently nobody knows who Danhausen is. Not a clue. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I say this and I get so much shit for it, right? I'm not the biggest like comedy wrestling fan, right?
Right.
Because generally it's done terribly.
Yes.
However,
Agreed.
Danhausen is one of the greatest characters I've seen in the last 20 years of pro wrestling. I'm going to say it. I have, and this is my bias, I absolutely love the whole like macabreness. Like I love the whole Nosferatu hands and like that kind of stuff. Like I'm very into that stuff. So to see it on wrestling, I absolutely love. I think the commitment to the character is fantastic. I know who Danhausen is, but apparently I'm seeing that people are very upset that this man is hired by AEW.
Right. I was just...
Even though his tweet got the most likes out of anybody who's been signed in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Insane. The traction he got on that tweet is incredible. If you look at like the tweets analytics, the amount of interaction that tweet got, it just surpasses everybody. It surpasses Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, Malachi Black. It's insane how many people have clicked on that tweet. And so, but you know, of course, people out of the woodwork.
What cracks me up is people go, they're just signing a bunch of ex-WWE guys, and then they sign Danhausen. Like, who the fuck's Danhausen? It's like,
look, you have Danhausen, you have, I mean, just you have Danhausen, you have Orange Cassidy. But by the way, this is the comparison. Like, I get why people love Orange Cassidy. I totally get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get the whole thing. It's just not like my favorite gimmick.
This is why he's on the show. I have backup with the Orange Cassidy debate now.
I
tricked you guys. I tricked everyone.
I love his theme. This is it. I'm coming in hot now.
Yes.
I get it. I totally get it. It's just like not my favorite thing. But for whatever reason, the Danhausen stuff, I'm into. Super into.
The same way. Because I always say, like,
why not
I like
both?
what Orange Cassidy does, right? But he's not like, when you put him in a main event, I'm not believing it. You know, like
you believed it on Wednesday because that was a banger ass match.
That was a banger ass match. But again,
listen, Orange Cassidy's great. He was great in that. Then in one of the main matches at Double or Nothing, he's great against the right type of people.
Again, it's all about just not like committing to the character, and that's why I brought Andrew here because I knew that you guys all talk shit, especially you, chat. Chat, I'm looking at you right in the camera. You type all this shit about Orange Cassidy. I got backup now. And of course he works for WWE, but at least I got backup.
Wait, so here's the $1 million question then, Andrew. What do you feel about Frankie Kazarian?
He's from the same tribe as me. I gotta love him.
The Elite Hunter.
Dude, you really did bring back up Ant.
I did.
Yeah. We make fun of
Ant all the same tribe. I'm a Zarian. He's a Kazarian, so I can't talk shit about him.
That's true. Good point.
Wow.
And before we go any further, Kyle, we forgot the most important thing. Happy birthday.
Oh, right.
To our very own Jackie Rodriguez.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Jackie. We love you.
Happy birthday, Jackie.
We sang you at 12:01 this morning.
Make sure you go on Twitter at LoveYouMake24 and send her all the Cash Wheeler gifts, pictures of his thighs, everything you got, and Wheeler Uter just for us.
Yeah. So there's a thing we have there with her. So she's a big Cash Wheeler guy, big FTR girl. She actually this morning as a birthday gift, I think they both followed her on Twitter, so that was pretty cool to see.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we make fun of her because she is always a big Cash Wheeler guy. So we're like, oh, well, why not Wheeler Yuta?
Yeah, we call her. At first, it was Mrs. Wheeler, and then it became Mrs. Wheeler Yuta. It gets crazy on these late night, these Rampage episodes. Like,
oh god, we have the 12 a.m. giggles going on during these. We all watch Dynamite together, Rampage together. But yeah, shout out to
That's really
Jackie.
awesome though. That's a lot of fun. I'm normally stoned and watching it alone, and I'm second guessing my life decisions.
Well, for you, here's a good question. For you, like, we don't watch SmackDown here, right? And you do. So like, are you like extra exhausted by the time you get to like midway Rampage? Like, do you hear Excalibur slinging products while someone's getting murdered in the ring and be like,
he broke him in half like a Kit Kat bar. Speaking of Kit Kat, use AEW.
So my days are like nutty here, right? Because I got like a bunch of clients. I'm coming in. Like Fridays, I try to be home earlier. Normally because my wife and I go out drinking, but I'll catch SmackDown when I get home, which I'm always on a delay. So like I'm on like an hour and a half delay.
Mm-hmm.
So I see the progressive ad, and then I'll like fast forward to like the good spots, and then I'll catch up. Like within like 20 minutes, I'll catch up and I'll continue watching it. But it's super exhausting watching SmackDown than Rampage.
It's like Roman Reigns picks up the mic, he listens, and then he shuts it off because that's the only good part right now. Watch SmackDown.
Yeah, got it.
Like, here comes Duo-Drop, and it's like, all right, I'm done.
D-Drop's on Raw, bro.
Whatever. See? You shill.
I'm a shill. Checks in the mail.
Anyways, yeah, I thought Rampage last night was great. I do want to start off with the topic of Julia Hart, interestingly enough. And we've talked about on the show before what we think is going to happen with Julia Hart. Do you have in your head, Andrew, an idea of where, like, obviously it looks like it's going towards House of Black because now she's been having an attitude as of late. Do you think that's the direction it's going, or do you have like some other crazy conspiracy theory that you think that they're going in another direction with Julia?
No, I hope so. I mean, I think it would be a nice character change for her. I think that whole crew needs a character change, right? Like they're doing like the whole Varsity Blondes gimmick. You know, it's like an homage to like an old school gimmick. You know, they're good looking kids. They're going out there, babyface, all American. And Julia Hart now got poisoned in the eye. And I guess that poison's going to spread. I'm hoping eventually this leads to a loose cannon gimmick for Brian Pillman.
Oh, okay.
That's my thing that I've wanted. I've spoken to people there, and I'm like, guys, I know you're going to do this. Just tell me when. I just need to know because it's a nice transition for him. And what better of a way that Malachi starts poisoning these people and he kind of starts going nutty and he becomes a loose cannon Brian Pillman.
So I disagree. I definitely disagree.
I do want to real quick. There is an interesting little thing AEW is great at Easter eggs. Mm-hmm. And 2 weeks ago, as we said on Elite POV, our main show, when Pillman was in the ring, he was wearing a Venom shirt.
He was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is a nice little Easter egg that maybe he becomes like a loose cannon. Because you got to remember, the Varsity Blondes are great. And it was great when Austin and Pillman did it. But neither of them rose to star power because of that tag team gimmick, right? They broke off on their own and became stars. Mm-hmm. And it's a good way to get your foot in the door. But I love that Julia Hart got the match last night because it shows that something important's about to happen. You just don't throw her to Jade. They could have threw anyone to Jade. They put Julia Hart there for a reason.
How do you think she did in the match?
I think she looked decent. I mean, I think Jade, since winning that title, has looked really good. Of course, she had Anna Jay, which is her training partner. So they put on her best match so far. But she looked a lot more comfortable last night. And Julia Hart played that that smaller kind of punching bag perfectly.
She looked good in the beginning because I noticed I seen it right away. As soon as she started, the lockup right at the beginning was very, very clean. And to do it with a person of structure as Jade, like that's a massive girl to go up and lock up against right in the middle of the match, right in the beginning of the match. And I thought she looked decent. I know like later in the match she starts losing the advantage, but I thought that looking at this match, I'm like, okay, they're either going to go in two directions. They're either going to have Jade just absolutely squash her right from the get-go, no offense at all from Julia Hart, and then she's going to freak out because of the poison going in her and she's losing her mind. Or they're going to give her some offense so we can see what we have in Julia Hart. We kind of got that. We kind of got like a mix of both, I think. And
so my thing is, I don't think this is a big grand storyline to turn the Varsity Blondes, because AEW, like, yes, they do the Easter eggs or whatever, but that could be like years down the line. Like that could be so far down the line. We saw how long the Hangman stuff took, and we were literally sitting watching how long the Wardlow stuff is taking now. I think that with the popularity of the Varsity Blondes and with the fact that this is probably going to be, I mean, fingers crossed, the first full year we have of full fans at every show that they go to, the Varsity Blondes during the COVID era, whenever they would do a fan access or whatever, like they had one of the biggest lines. They're super popular.
Did they really?
Yeah. For people that have gone there, their meet and greets are always super popular, and it's really hard to meet them at these like AEW only events. So I don't think they're going to break them up yet. And with the whole Jade thing, like, this is my fear with Jade. Jade is exceptional. Jade is going to be one of the biggest stars in their company one day. But she is still new. And yes, her match with Anna was great, even though they're both new. But now, weeks like this where she's fighting Julia Hart is the real test for Jade, because Julia Hart is even newer than them, right? Because she started training at the Nightmare Factory after them.
But do you think it's because the depth in the roster we talk about a lot? Like they did a great job building it so far. But if they had more veterans that can make Jade, learn how to wrestle a longer match, learn how to, endure more stamina, stuff like that. I think the problem is she already went through Thunder Rosa, she already went through Ruby Riott. So now she's running out of these veterans to wrestle as a heel.
With AEW,
so she's stuck with the new people.
Well, yeah, it's
give you
levels of newness. Like, it's
I'll give you a little
just...
scoop. I'll give you a little scoop about Jade.
Oh,
there's a lot of people in WWE, their eyes are lighting up big time.
Well, of course,
about Jade.
She
is a one. Listen, work-wise, forget about work rate, right? Let's take the whole work rate thing out, right? We all know that she's new. She's working at it. First of all, she's very committed to it, which is always a plus when you have that kind of look. She is an anomaly in the business. You don't get too many Jade Cargills that often. I can't think of the last time we had someone that size.
China. Beth Phoenix was close, I guess.
Beth Phoenix, China, like just an unbelievable presence when you look at her. And I think these are the things that AEW needs, especially, the women's division is building up tremendously. From a year ago to today, the criticism that AEW doesn't have a good women's division, look at the roster now, and it's building. And by the way, it's going to continue building. They're only going to continue growing with this. But having someone like Jade as a top tier presence to kind of go against the everything else that WWE is doing, she's impressive. She's as impressive as Charlotte is when you look at her. So I could tell you that conversations are happening about her and what they can do if they had her.
Of course, right? And it's not, to me,
make her lose Becky Lynch in 14 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. The greatness of Jade isn't just that she has that like commanding presence on TV because of her stature, like a China or a Beth Phoenix or a Charlotte. It's the personality on top of that, right? Yeah. It's what makes Bianca Belair so great over there too. It's just, and Jade's personality like shoots through the screen, where it's like, yes, in ring right now, in all honesty, it doesn't matter because when she's on screen, you're looking at her, you're tuning in. If she's on Twitter, you're looking at her picture, like you're paying attention to what she's doing. But it's the real test is going to be these next few months, because what I was going to say earlier, the women's division is fantastic, and it doesn't get enough credit considering that they've only signed Ruby Soho in the past year. So when people were shitting on them during the COVID era, it's the same women. It's just they've gotten more TV time.
Ty Conti, Anna Jay, they all have gotten
better. The issue with AEW veteran-wise is there's two levels of veterans they need. They need veterans, like in the ring veterans. but also like TV veterans. Because like a lot of the girls are not only new, but they're new to TV. So like Penelope Ford has been wrestling for a while, but she's new to TV. So it's like, we got to see where we could fit Jade. And I would love to see a Jade versus Nyla Rose feud. And I understand Nyla's going to do this stuff for Ruby right now, but I hope that's what they lead. And I hope we get an actual feud with Jade and Thunder Rosa after this Mercedes Martinez stuff.
I like that.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
I mean, but you got to think about when we're talking about the women's division, you got to think about all the stars that are out there that are becoming free agents. You know, the biggest name's Toni Storm, in my opinion, right? Yeah. Toni Storm signs there. Yeah, Ember Moon's a huge name, but Toni Storm signs there, and it's a whole different division. Another name to watch is Deonna Purrazzo. I know that she's kind of, the queen of Impact, but you can make a lot more money with AEW. So when that contract's up, AEW is going to throw stupid money at her because another veteran that is a great technician, knows the camera. There's going to be a lot of great talent coming over to AEW, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why they're going to start letting a lot of these contracts expire, right? They need to start making room. And it sucks, right? Because, I guarantee you it's going to be people that people love. There's always, I know Tony Khan said in an interview that there's always an option to bring them back. That's why they're letting them expire and not like just straight up releasing them.
I have an insider that's not Andrew. Unfortunately, I was
Dirt
told.
Kimmy?
I want to know if we call her Dirt She Kimmy. I want to know if Andrew's heard this. We've heard Brian Cage is being that on that road to letting expire.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I've heard that too. I don't know if it's 100% true.
Yeah.
I think the Brian Cage stuff is really interesting to me because when he was in AEW, when they announced that he was joining, I thought, just his sheer size is good for the optics, right? First of all, he's a fantastic talent too. I mean, forget about everything else, but just optics wise, when you're channel surfing, and this has been, the only, if I were to say, like, if I'm going to market AEW, like I love the product, but if I'm channel surfing, I'm a casual fan, what's going to make me stop? Right. Is it going to be a Darby Allin? Is it going to be, a Jade Cargill? Is it going to be, just anything that pops? And they need that, obviously. I love Adam Cole, but the reality is if I don't know wrestling, am I stopping when I see Adam Cole? Really. The answer is probably no, because I have no idea, as a non-fan, I have no idea. But if you see a Brian Cage looking like a freaking lunatic, jacked to the gills, you may stop for a second and your interest levels peak. But I don't know what happened there. I know that there were tremendous high hopes for him. Maybe he just got frustrated. He thought this would be the moment. What was he doing in Impact when he was there?
He was a champion.
I know, but at the end, was he
nothing really? Yeah.
This is what, and this is one of the rare times I'll say this is Brian Cage has all the looks and all the talent in the world. He needs the charisma, right? I think NXT, like what NXT used to be with the coaches they had, would be the perfect place for Brian Cage to kind of hone everything together because they've done that before with people, right?
Here's the problem. Brian Cage is 37.
Yeah, and they're not going to take him.
Yeah, they're definitely not taking him then.
I mean, the way that I see him is like, if he would have had some of that teaching, because he has the work ethic. The dude's massive. He's a monster. His work rate, some of his best matches were against Tessa Blanchard, in my opinion. I love them. And he just doesn't have, like, when he speaks, you're like, why doesn't that guy have a mouthpiece? Like, give him, you have 50,000 managers in AEW. That guy should have had a manager.
I think the biggest issue with Brian Cage in AEW was the fact that when they signed him was when the company was like, we need more big guys. And since signing him, they brought in Brody Lee. Wardlow has, evolved into this huge star for the company.
Yeah. Wardlow's taking that spot.
And they brought in Lance Archer, and they brought in, it's just like over and over. They're bringing in these big guys. Yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs has become this great wrestler for them. And I think that, sadly enough, Brian Cage gets pushed to the side because if you have somebody like Will Hobbs is also super new, right, to the company and definitely to like wrestling fans in general. Like I didn't know him before AEW, and he has charisma when he's on camera. So if he has charisma and people are getting behind him, and then you have Brian Cage over here, and it's not really working at the moment, they're not going to be able to waste the time trying to build him because AEW doesn't have an NXT. They have Dark and Elevation, but it only gets you so far.
So Andrew, don't you think, like, for me, like I see Wardlow as the guy you're talking about. You're going through the channels, you're stopping, right? Big, handsome, beast.
Powerbombing someone like 4 or 5 times in a row.
His facial expressions alone have more charisma than Brian Cage. I don't know if you see that too. Just the way he's playing this part of, like, every time MJF's saying something, the way he's looking at him is intriguing television.
No, Wardlow, Wardlow came out of nowhere. I think when they signed him, most people had no idea who he was.
2,100 followers on Twitter. That's what he had. I remember exactly.
What did he have?
Day.
How many?
I went and followed him right away. He had 2,100 followers on Twitter.
Yeah. So, I mean, he really was, to some, like, you follow indie wrestling, you maybe knew who he was, but 90% of people had no idea. I don't think most people anticipated that he would be put in this position and he would get this hot. He's improved unbelievably. I think that Cody match, that steel cage match he had with Cody, was like that first pinnacle moment for him. For lack of a better term. No pun intended. That pinnacle moment for him where he really shined, and Cody's great at that. And he gets so much shit, Cody, top to bottom. He's just, I think he just doesn't have a likable face. For some people, it's that tattoo.
It's a tattoo.
Maybe.
I was just going to say
tattoo.
Yeah,
that tattoo aggravated everybody.
It is so true. Ever since he got the neck tattoo, everyone kind of
it was the Agogo promo, and Cody Rhodes
regrets it.
Yeah, exactly. But Cody Rhodes is like everything that wrestling Twitter says AEW is. Oh, just ex-WWE guys, and they're cool with the boss, and that he's like literally the picture perfect example of that.
You know what's funny? I get that message all the time by Cody because I don't talk disparagingly about him. I'm like, yeah, I think he's doing great stuff, and they're like, in 2022, we don't need a Captain America. I go, dude, he's not playing Captain America. He's playing Homelander.
Yeah. And it's great.
I'm like, and they're like, well, I don't know what that is. I'm like, exactly. You don't know what that is. The character is like the worst of, just he's a good guy, but he's really a piece of shit at the, like that's the character he's playing. And I don't think people realize that. I think people just think that it's like another Cena thing. Sometimes over like doing smart booking goes totally the wrong way, and I think that's happening with him, but it may be turning around now. That match last week was unbelievable.
I just don't think that the hatred would have been as bad if the Agogo feud happened before COVID happened. I think that we were, as a country,
Ogogo wasn't the best opponent. We've discussed
but not even just that. Ogogo was pretty good for where he is, like, training-wise, but you have the entire world is like kind of fuck America. Like everyone's like so anti-America right now with all the crazy shit that's going on and how people are acting in this country. You can't have a Captain America gimmick at the time because that's what Cody Rhodes was at the time before the Homelander stuff happened. Like you understand where the hate comes from, but still it's like you love this guy. He is like the heart of AEW. Like I say it all the time. I cried when he won it All In.
Yep.
When he won the NWA title. I can't boo him. Like who am I?
Yeah, I get it.
I just want to know where he's going to get a job with that neck tattoo.
You know what? He ruined it for himself.
Yeah,
it's over.
You'll never be able to get a job with that.
You need a delivery driver,
Yeah, good luck getting a corporate job.
Yeah. No NXT head coach for you, sir.
Yeah.
No, I really think that match on Wednesday really that
5 stars.
That should open some eyes of people, man. Amazing. That was amazing. That was such a great match, and
I know I joked, Kyle, and I said, "What's the greatest ladder match of all time, and why is it Cody versus Sammy?" But like stacking it up on my list, it's pretty damn close to the best ladder match I've ever seen.
It was good.
Like real close.
I'm still partial because I was there live for TakeOver New Orleans, and I got to see that North American.
Oh, I was at Super Card of the month because it took.
Okay, so here's a question for you guys: best singles ladder match. What's your number one?
I gotta go. I gotta go Michaels and Razor just because it was something new I've never saw at the time and kind of made me love wrestling.
Have you rewatched it? Have you rewatched it?
Yes, and it doesn't hold up to what they can do now, but it's a different time. But the most underrated one, and not a lot of people talk about this unless they really like are big fans. Luke Harper versus Dolph Ziggler is one of my favorite ladder matches I've ever seen. That match was very underrated, but in terms of like crazy spots, one-on-one, this takes it, right?
This definitely does. Yeah. For me, I mean, my answer is very similar to yours. I was at the Garden for the WrestleMania 10 ladder match.
Oh wow!
So it was fantastic. But another one very underrated, Hunter and Rock.
Oh, SummerSlam '98. Yep.
Very underrated. Nobody
That's
talks about that ladder match. And these are guys that I don't want to see ever climb a ladder.
Yeah. Well, Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels wasn't even the best match on that card. People forget.
Yeah,
Bret versus Owen was the
yeah.
best match on that card.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's like I watch WrestleMania 10 a lot because Owen Hart's my favorite wrestler of all time. And it's like that and the ladder match, like, this is awesome. And then they have like Crush versus Macho Man, and you're like, what the fuck? Where did this go wrong? What? You have two of the greatest matches ever, and then you have Crush versus Macho Man.
People still expect them to put on, like, all wrestling shows to put on the most perfect card from start to finish. And people are like, Big Show versus fucking QT Marshall. What the fuck? It's like, yo, you need a break.
Let's get a break.
Bret Hart loses to his brother and goes and wins the title that night. It's like the ultimate fuck you.
It's such an F you.
Imagine that happening today. Like, you do that with, like, I don't know, Kenny Omega has an open match against somebody, and then he wins the title at the end of the night. I think Twitter will shut down.
Yeah. Speaking of Kenny,
he's just doing it because he's an EVP. Puts the belt on himself.
Speaking of him, I think Phil saw 2 weeks. A recent video just came out of Kenny working out. I wonder how close he is to coming back.
Revolution, Adam Cole, let's go, baby.
Yeah, I think it's March. I think he's scheduled for his AAA title defense in March.
Really?
No, they stripped him though, didn't they? Or
Did
is
they?
they doing like a unit? Yeah, I thought
I heard they stripped him.
It's
Bandito, right?
No. The other dude won. What's his name? It's like Viking Go or some shit like that.
I'm almost certain he's booked in March for AAA.
Oh, wow. Nice. Maybe they're doing like a unification thing, like a interim.
I could be wrong. I mean, I really could be wrong, but I was almost certain that March was the time frame for the going to AAA.
So he's the god of healing because he had like 2 surgeries, and this guy's already coming back in March 3, and vertigo to try to recover from.
Yo, you understand this, right? And we're in Royal Rumble season, so we understand this well.
Kenny Omega's showing up tonight.
No, we promise not to talk about it.
Wait,
and to his New Japan theme.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we understand that when it comes to all of these wrestlers, right? The Edges, the Nikki Bella, right? For Ant.
Let's go, baby.
If you don't wrestle for like 15 minutes, your body miraculously heals. So it's just like the wear and tear that these wrestlers put themselves through. It's like, take a weekend off, you'll be fine.
He had like 6 surgeries. Like, man, I feel brand new. And it's like, you just had 6 surgeries. He's like, yeah.
Did you watch that really sad cupping video he did? That chiropractor video?
No. I've seen clips. Yeah.
I don't know, for like a month, that's all YouTube wanted me to watch. That was always on my recommended, was like Kenny Omega with that weird carny chiropractor.
Yep.
And just you look at Kenny and his shoulder, like I come from a bodybuilding family. My father was a bodybuilder. My grandfather was a pro bodybuilder. Oh, nice. I didn't get that. I didn't get the genes. The only time, if I take a little gimmick and I work out for 6 weeks, I'll get a little big. But I have no ability to naturally do it. So his shoulders were so slumped in those videos. And this was right before his title defense. And I'm watching. I'm like, dude, he's in pain. Every time this man would touch him, he was just so tense, his body. I was like, there's no way. He needs to take time off. And obviously he did.
But that's the great thing about this company is like you're missing your best player. You're missing your all-star. You're missing your superstar. And it's just like things keep rolling. Danielson hasn't had a match in like a month? And things are just rolling. Miro's not on TV and he's a big star. And things just keep rolling and you keep just sliding in all these great talents. I think that's what I love most is like when WWE didn't have Reigns. I know we're not a WWE show, but you felt that they didn't have Reigns, right? You felt it like something was missing. AEW was missing Mox, Miro, and Kenny, and the show was just as good as it's been.
Listen, because and here's the difference, right? Like and no knock at him, right? But a Pillman and Malachi Black match, right? If that was a Raw match, nobody would give 2 shits. Nobody would care because you'd be like, oh, okay, it's a Raw match. Obviously, Malachi's winning. However, in AEW, they've kind of conditioned their fans, and I think it's a different fan base where you're like, okay, that's a cool combination, right? That's cool that it's Pillman Jr. and it's Malachi. I'm into Pillman. I want to see him succeed. I'm really into this character, so I have invested interest in the match, and that I think that's the difference. Even though the star power may not, you talk about WWE star power, yeah, it's astronomical. They're the biggest. They've 60 years of lineage, but when you look at them, like. You put a Seth Rollins, let's say Seth Rollins and give me like and Ricochet, right? That's a Raw match or a SmackDown match.
Be a really fun match. But
it's going to be a fun match, but how invested are you? because they've told you already that there's no importance in this match. The only match that matters is the main event and the pay-per-views. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why I like AEW too. It's like you take that Malachi Brian Pillman match, and then you have all these little Easter eggs, all these little, okay, Julia Hart's a revolving story. What is she doing? Like, they make you care about everything because there's always a story behind it. Even if it's like a 2-week story, it's a story. It's not like, oh, just Ricochet versus Rollins. And then like
5th time in a week.
Rollins, gets
5 weeks in a row.
DQ'd, someone comes out for the save. You're like, okay.
I feel like AEW fans have been conditioned to not miss out on things. I think AEW does a great job of using social media and YouTube to build these like minor stories. So like if you watch BTE, you might get something. If you watch the Road 2 or Countdowns, or if you just go on their Twitter, there's little ways that they get you to care about characters. So then when they do a match like Pillman Jr. versus Malachi, if you're really paying attention, you understand the story that was behind it. And also, if you know somebody who's paying attention, they're going to kind of guilt you into being like, wait, you don't realize that? Because going to these AEW shows, you'll see people and they'll be like, oh, what's going on? And then they'll ask someone next to them and they'll be like, oh, you didn't see that on Twitter? So then maybe next time they watch the Twitter. Yeah. It all builds in with each other, which is cool.
Not to mention their production team is like, the promo packages they do for such like a 2-week feud is insane. Like, they're so top notch. They give you that big fight feel for like a mid-match Dynamite. Like, they'll have that short 30-second video package with like the intense music and, the wrestler like hyping up their match and what they're going to do. They do those productions so well. Even when they get to a pay-per-view where they do the longer promo videos, those are so well done.
Yeah.
But we're track back a little bit to speaking to like big names on our show. Talk about Jon Moxley, first match in like almost 3.5 months last night. Didn't look like he missed
the
beat.
Last week.
Well, second match.
Sorry, second match batch, but still doesn't look like he's missed a beat. Him and Bowens
just shows you how good Bowens is.
Exactly. I was going to say that match went a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, and turned out to be my favorite match of the night last night. Was the opening great. Moxley and Bowens. And Zarian, what did you think about that?
I thought it was a great match. I think Bowens has a lot of upside. I think the Acclaimed as an act, they're still so young, and in a couple years these guys are going to be.
Everyone loves.
How do you feel about
Everybody loves the Acclaimed.
How do you feel about Max Caster? Because we have a co-host, Jackie, who happy birthday, but she does not like Max Caster.
I like him. I like the rap gimmick. I think he's great in the ring. I think they're both fantastic. I know that Mox, by the way, wants to put some weight back on.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I think he's down to like 114. 114. 214 now.
Okay.
114. He'd be. I mean, just decrepit at that point.
Yeah, he's down to 114. It's
114. Like, he'll be how Twitter thinks Adam Cole weighs.
Yeah. Well,
I
know he wants to put on the weight, but he looks
Mox's
great.
Body weight. Remember when he came back from the injury and joined Seth Rollins, and he came out and he looked like he was like a serial killer. The dude was like jacked and like you looked like he was going to murder someone. I think that's probably where he wants to get back to, because that's the best
I like the thick version of him from like a couple months ago.
Oh,
a couple months ago. He was like becoming like a loony hardcore wrestler. I loved it.
Yeah, I like the Shield. The first one, the Shield, people like don't realize like he was as big like in like the upper body as Roman Reigns was when the Shield started.
Yeah, WWE developmental.
Yeah, all they did is lift.
FCW.
Like, we don't have anything for you, John. Go lift.
It's an upper body business.
Yeah. But the match was great. The match was. I love that they're giving Bowen all these big opponents. I just think it's cool. You showcase him, and then you have Max Caster do what he's best at, which is talking and getting the crowd invested in stuff like that. And people in the chat right now are saying weak bars, they're funny bars, and that's all you want. I'm not going to go out and watch him perform at the
I
Grammys.
For the Renee line. The Renee line, the first line he dropped about Renee and the DMs, like he did that during the COVID era when they were all at Daly's place. I remember that line he dropped. Like he's
Easter eggs even in the bars, bro.
Yeah.
He's not trying to be Meek Mill, guys. He's just trying to pop you a little bit.
You fucking South Jersey Philly person. Of all the rappers, you have to go.
Meek Mill was.
Meek Mill's not even relevant anymore. But he's not even relevant anymore. You bring up Meek Mill.
He is.
That's like me being like, you know who sounds like Joel Santana.
I just want to let you know, in about a week, it's gonna be like 4 years since we won the Super Bowl, right? And that Dreams and Nightmare songs, which I came out to at your wedding. That's how Philly I am.
Yeah, I know.
Meek Mill, there should be a statue of him for that song.
Wait, you're a Phillies fan, right?
Oh, I'm all Philly.
You're all Philly. You're Eagles, Phillies, all of it, right?
Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, Villanova.
He's too close to Philly. Like for him,
I know.
New York is like a dream.
Yeah.
Well,
he's part of that weird New Jersey side, right? Where and I didn't know this until like a couple of years ago that Jersey's all Giants, Yankees. It's all the New York sports. But you go south enough, it's all Philly.
All Philly.
All Philly.
Once we talk about exits. Once you hit like exit 60, it's a weird mix. And then 55 and down, it's like all Philly.
That's because you guys get all the Philly stations. So it's like, it's, if you want to go to Madison Square Garden, it's all right.
And I mean, would you rather watch the Knicks or Joel Embiid? Like, let's be real for a second.
Right now. Okay.
Let's be real for a second.
I don't want to hear that Ben Simmons.
So,
he's not even playing, and we're still better than you guys. Come on.
I don't want to. Yeah, that's not
right, save it for the sports podcast, the basketball podcast that we're going to do on Patreon.
This is Off the Dribble with Phil and
Off the Dribble. That's a great podcast name. Put on the
dribble. Yeah.
But I got to ask you. I don't know if you've seen him. I'm assuming you have. Danhausen. He posted that video of
who's Danhausen?
Never heard of the guy.
Never heard of him.
He looks like Darby Allin. But there's the video of the Ass Boys song.
Oh,
fantastic!
Great. Oh my god! And someone dubbed it over an entrance for.
I love that Billy embraces him. Billy likes Danhausen, but the Ass Boys don't, and I think that's the funniest thing. And I want him to get adopted by Billy and become one of the Ass Boys, and it becomes like a whole bizarre.
I want Billy
scenario.
to take over, what Private Party, because they love pounding ass. So it could just be like that. Would be like it's just a whole ass stable, right? He buys them from Matt Hardy because they're ass boys as well.
Yeah, this is great.
But Danhausen
whole ass thing.
He tried to join the House of Black on Twitter, and Brody King's like, no.
Brody King shut him down.
Yeah, he's in applications.
Just a gaggle of ass boys.
But man, for them to end off a Rampage on top, like the last picture you see. That's always important. The last thing you see on Rampage is what you remember the most. And the last thing we seen on Rampage last night was the Ass Boys taking it to Jurassic Express and then laying them out holding the titles, which is, I think, a huge nod to, I'll still call them the Ass Boys. The Ass Boys, because really, like,
it's the best name ever.
They've been kind of like a filler kind of thing over Dynamite the last couple of weeks, doing stuff with Christian and, segments here and there, but like to end off a Rampage on top and the last thing you see on TV, I thought that was pretty big nod to them, and it kind of looks like they're going to that direction, the Ass Boys against Jurassic Express. And I don't think that, I mean, it would be shocking if they could you imagine
if they win,
if they won? Like
Santana Ortiz fans, including myself, will lose their minds.
Yes.
You give it to these guys, you won't put
I'll go watch. You know what? I'll turn on USA on Monday night real quick.
Hey, doesn't
win the titles?
Yeah, that's something that probably would happen on that show. But doesn't what's his name, Colton has like the best immaculate
He's
record.
Only lost once to Kenny, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just to Kenny. So this man's has only one loss in AEW, and it's to Kenny Omega.
It's against the greatest pro wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'd be that bad if they won the titles.
It's cool that they're showcasing it, and they're trying to, again, it's all about mixing old with new. And I know Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus aren't veterans by any means, but they've been on TV for the better half of 2.5 years now. So now they bring these guys up, they work them, they see how they look, and the Ass Boys look great. I think they're a great tag team. It's a fun tag team. And now you have Danhausen in the mix, which I'm sure some way, somehow, that's going to become a thing.
I think he's going to do stuff with Orange Cassidy.
You're just showcasing new talent in fun ways. And I think that's, it's so cool because it's not repetitive. And I know it's only been 3 years, so it's not like we have that long to repeat stuff, but everything feels different and new because they're literally just plugging in and playing different positions. It's really fun.
Well, AEW does a great job at like making these transitional feuds still kind of matter, right? Let's say in 3 months, the plan is for Santana Ortiz to win the belts from Jurassic.
I hope so,
right?
Please.
And that's what they're in the storyline with Jericho. Will they, won't they leave the inner circle? So like they're tied up right now. FTR is doing their own thing over there to the side with the match that happened on Rampage last night. But then, so like you need Jurassic Express to do something fun. So why not have something with the Ass Boys? It'll be fun, at least, right? It'll be something that's good television.
So I'm gonna say a negative here, right? Okay. We're talking about Danhausen. We're talking about the Ass Boys. We've talked about Brian Cage. I feel that the world title positioning has been like 4th or 5th on the list of importance in this company right now. I have a little issue with that.
Yeah.
Is it because Lance Archer, you think? Like
I don't know.
Like, I'm not being mean, but
no,
you know
I don't
he's
know.
gonna lose, right? Like
I feel like if Archer's just a filler for this pay-per-view, right?
But not. Like, but I get it. We get it 2 weeks in Atlantic City. That's not even a pay-per-view match.
I'm sorry for the Atlantic City show, yeah. But if this is like, and then what? Like, where do we go from there? Like, this is a filler till.
Is this where they debut someone? Is this where, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm feeling. Like, where are you going with this? Because now you got Moxley and Danielson. Adam Cole's busy. Like,
well, see, I thought CM Punk and MJF would already been over by now, and that winner was going to go into a segment with Hangman.
Well, we still have another month to the pay-per-view.
Because I still don't think
the pay-per-view's not till March.
I said it on the show this week, Andrew. I don't think MJF and Punk is happening next week. I think something's going to happen.
It's going to be a troll
curious
job.
If they're going to. Yeah, I'm curious if they're going to do some sort of weird, wacky thing, or what if like.
I think it's going to be Spears and Wardlow in a handicap match.
Oh, you think that's what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I fear they're going to do some like wacky roll up on CM Punk and get MJF to, cost him the match, and he wins. Then he has one over on Punk, and you could continue it like that. I don't know.
This match needs to be pay-per-view, because if not, the only thing I can think is now Wardlow somehow helps Punk. You know what I mean? And that's like the final straw.
I still think.
I don't think they're blowing that up yet. You know,
Wardlow's going to win that brass ring, whatever match at Revolution, and that's going to
Sonic the Hedgehog ring. Yeah. A golden honey nut Cheerio on the ladder.
He's going to win that, and then, because MJF told him in the beginning, once you win that match, you're giving the title shot to me. Wardlow's going to say no.
I do think Andrew has a point, though, is the world title. I mean, Hangman's all bit of the star. Every title defense has been banging, and the promo was great this week, but you're right. Like, they kind of elevated the TNT championship over it for a little bit, right? With the interim champions, the ladder matches, all that stuff. So I kind of feel the same way, and maybe it is because Lance Archer, because we have a theory that, well, it's not a theory, it's fact. Every time Lance Archer has a shot to win something, he doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like
he's the main event like go-to loser. Which hey, everybody has a position to play in the company. That's just
it's sad.
And he's good. It's just they never have him win anything.
I really don't.
But do you think here's a question then to what you said, Andrew? Do you think now that this Cody Sammy thing is over, or at least for now over, do you think now they're going to start paying more of an importance to the Hangman thing? Like maybe give them more screen time?
I would hope so. I think the world title picture, when it like gets really heavy, think about like their main like top 5 or 6, right? You got Punk, you got Danielson, you got MJF, you have Cole. Hangman, you have Kenny, you have Mox. I mean, that's their top 6 really. Mm-hmm. And then you could add Adam Cole, you add him to this mix. They have a very strong, and it's like in WWE, who's their top 5 main event picture?
It's all over the place. It's all
over because I can name like Reigns, Brock, Rollins, McIntyre, but Rollins wasn't.
But they're all on different shows, and it's like, where do you get them to interweave?
It's a lot of collusion.
It's so like even Attitude Era, right? You talked about. Think about like that top tier: Hunter, Rocky, Austin, Taker, Kane. Like it went on.
Yeah,
Mankind. When you have like 5 or 6 key players, you could intertwine all of them. And to me, it feels like AEW is just waiting to do this. Mm-hmm. They don't want to do it now. They're waiting for the right moment. They're still building all the young talent, and then they're just going to open the floodgates. I'm imagining by September, they're really going to start opening these, dream fantasy main caliber world title matches, with maybe like, we're going to end up seeing Punk and Danielson done right for the first time, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to see that.
Omega Punk.
Omega and Punk.
Yeah, Omega Danielson have unfinished business.
Punk Cole.
Yeah, Punk Cole. So you're going to see these. And I feel like it sometimes takes away from the world title picture. And I think because they have so many key players here, like the CM Punk MJF feud is the number 1 feud in the company right now. And it's not the world title. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's by design or if they're protecting a future storyline that's going to come up. I just find it interesting how their booking is kind of shifted away from the title.
Now, do you think that, because you saying that made me think of something, do you think that that's where AEW's desire to make everything long-term booking kind of hurts them in the short term? Because let's say that the only reason we got this Adam Cole Orange Cassidy feud that is like, you either loved it or you hated it, is because Kenny's out, and maybe that story was supposed to go in that direction, and with Kenny being out, everything's kind of shuffled, and that's why maybe MJF and Punk is lasting longer, or Hangman's kind of up in the air right now. Do you think that the long-term storytelling kind of hurts AEW at times?
I think this is by design. They didn't want to shoot their load. Off the gate, doors open up and you're doing these crazy fantasy matches, because these are things that you kind of want to keep when you build your audience and people get more confident with your product. I'm trying to think of an example on the WWE side, and I'm struggling right now. That could be a big time fantasy match.
Well, they held a problem too. Well, here's the thing,
because they do everything 15 times over and over.
They blew it off at Battleground for some reason, but the Shield Triple Threat is one that everybody wanted to see. Everybody talked about the Shield Triple Threat, but then they did. Why wasn't that a Mania main event? Like, that's, to me, that's insane, right?
But part of their logic was, let's hold on to this. I mean, the only reason why Becky and Ronda didn't happen at that WrestleMania 3 years ago. Yeah. My God, 2019 , right?
Rumors say that it's still going on. That we're still sitting. We're still sitting in the crowd after 3 years waiting for the main event.
Well, what happened? I mean, first of all, that match is a great example of overcomplicating your booking. Mm-hmm. They felt that, oh my God, we have this hot match that everybody wants to see, but we shouldn't do it now. But we could do something else because we got their money already.
Charlotte Flair.
And that was it. Yeah. And so you put Charlotte in there. I felt bad for them. I really did. I thought that the match went on like, what was it? It was like midnight.
It was 12 o'clock. It was midnight. Yeah.
I was doing the watch along, and I was like, I just need this to end. I want to get on with my life.
We were in the building.
We were in the building since like 3 p.m.
Well, that was the one in New York, right?
Yeah.
I was there. Okay,
so
funny enough,
there was a big problem because the mass transit wasn't ready.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right? And I think people forget this. And I kept warning, and it was like I was preaching to everybody. I'm like, guys, listen, the last train is like 1 o'clock back to Penn.
I remember listening to your show and you saying this on your show.
I'm like, I was warning people. I'm like, get the F out of that building. I don't care if the main event hasn't started yet. You need to get out. And people were stranded for like 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
God.
I was getting calls from people saying, I didn't know you can't call an Uber here. I'm like, you're in the swamp.
Yeah.
The Meadowlands. You're not getting out of there.
That's like
people
that,
have to walk.
In New York, or not New York, Chicago, when they go to that arena. Yeah. Yeah, you were. I remember you talking about that. Yeah. I hope they don't do it there anymore. I know there's nostalgia there, but you got the fan base. Just do United.
What one was that? That was at the Sears?
The Sears Center?
Yeah.
Well, we once left All In, and we're so hyped up that we decided to drive 14 hours home.
Yeah.
Dude, I was hiking up my pants. I was showing my leg. If 2 fans showed up and picked us up. I swear to God, I was hitchhiking to get out of there.
That's hilarious.
This is what I mean. They have the fan base now. Go to United. I know there's nostalgia with that building with All In and everything, but they can do United, or what's that other one? The Allstate Arena. They're gonna
do United because that's Punk's Palace.
17,000 people.
That's where All Out's gonna be, and if you're going to All Out Elite POV, the whole team will be at All Out.
Listen, maybe that's where Punk wins the title.
Oh, that'd be great.
You would have to do it.
Can you imagine the way that building's gonna shake if Punk wins a title there?
I mean, if you're going All Out, we're definitely gonna meet up.
No, I'm definitely going All Out.
Okay, so we're gonna meet up.
Definitely be doing it. 100%. Yeah, we'll do a little a conjoint hangout.
Yeah, absolutely. We should do like a meetup or do something live. You know.
Yeah. So
we did at All Out. We broadcasted from my hotel room.
I saw that. Yeah, that was awesome.
Dave sitting on my bed doing curls. That's all he does. He just
it's gonna feel weird though, because when we were in Chicago, like everything was like we were on Podcast Row. We were
talking about it earlier. Like we were next
Westwood Radio.
That's awesome.
Were you were at All In, right?
Yeah.
You were next to us.
You were next to us.
No. I wasn't at All In. No. I wasn't.
You weren't at All In. All right. But Mad Men Podcast was next to us at.
Maybe that was a dude with a shirt.
Maybe
because he was with Mega Ran.
Yeah, I don't know who was there.
I got one last question before we wrap up the show. This is an often question that gets asked. I see it on Twitter all the time.
Will Cody be at the Rumble?
It's definitely no.
Tell us.
I'm not asking him that. I think you probably answered this on your show before because I know you guys do that. The questions at the end. Do you think Rampage should be a 2-hour show on its own?
I think Rampage should be on at a different time for sure. I don't know if if it hurts. I honestly, you want my honest opinion? And people think I'm nuts. I think Rampage is a detriment to Dynamite. I think it hurts Dynamite. Okay. I think it hurts their numbers. I think it hurts a lot of the matches that they do. We haven't seen Bryan on Dynamite since his loss.
Yeah.
Right? We've only seen him on Rampage for the last 2 weeks. I mean, he's a key player, so I know you're trying to keep it's a trap that everybody falls into, and I feel like Rampage, they didn't need Rampage. I get why they did it. Obviously, there's money involved, and the network wanted it. Originally, they wanted a third hour, and this was a compromise for the network to do a separate show because Tony did not want to do a third. I think third hour would have been a disaster for them.
I would do 8 to 10 on a Saturday night because
Yeah,
Friday night's
why not?
Like the night we all go out because you don't got to wake up Saturday. You know?
Yeah, I would do, or even 8 to 9.
Yeah.
You know, on a Saturday. I have no problem with that. I hate. You know what screwed them up is that they didn't get that Tuesday time slot. That's what they wanted. They wanted to be Dynamite on Tuesdays, and then you could do something on another day. You know, maybe Wednesday becomes Rampage on on TNT or TBS, whatever you're gonna do. I think the schedule, the Friday night thing, it doesn't work for me. I end up watching it on Saturday mornings. It's always a great show, but 10 o'clock on a Friday night, you know, your key demo is young.
Yeah, and it's always funny because Tony is like, all right, we're doing great in that time slot. What do you get? Roseanne reruns? What are you against at 10 o'clock? Like, of course you're doing great, bro.
Roseanne
you're against,
reruns.
I've literally watched this Diner Drive-Ins and Dives 15 times, and it's almost catching you in the
Dynamite.
Like, 10 o'clock sucks on Friday night. I hate
Listen,
that.
can you only imagine how many matches and segments that they would have in a 3-hour Dynamite? Because they already jam-packed 2 hours. It would be a pay-per-view every week. It would be just pure insanity.
It'd be a little bit overkill. It'd be overkill.
Too much.
Listen, but that's my opinion. I think they're figuring out the formula for Rampage, for sure. But you know, eventually they're gonna have to adapt into something else with Rampage. I think the big mistake was doing a 1-hour special on a couple of weeks ago. The Battle of the Belts.
But even that, at that time slot, drew like 800,000.
Yeah,
so
they're
like,
great.
Maybe Friday at 10's your problem. Like, that's like,
and
that's what I think. If you do Saturday 8 to 9 or Saturday 8 to 10, I feel like you're going to almost draw 1 million.
Yeah.
That's just I think.
So Friday it's funny. So we have friend of the show. We have Carrie in the chat who lives in Scotland, and she's saying 10 p.m. is a luxury. 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So you also got to remember when these time slots are happening in other countries as well. So that 10 a.m. start time is, and it sucks too because like I love everything AEW. I love all the stuff they do. My only problem with Rampage now is with having 4 matches on the card, you're eliminating entrances, and that crowd, like going to so many Dynamites live that I've been lucky to, like that crowd is so tired between 10 and like 12, right? 10, 11:30 when the show ends up being finished taping. So it's like you see people in the crowd just being like, this is fun, but like I'm fucking tired. Like, and you know, it's
work
just so
all day
crazy.
and go to a 3-hour show.
Yeah, but like make it go back to 3 matches, make it like a quick experience where like they get more time, because what ends up happening is sadly the opening match was great, but then the women's match gets cut down.
Yeah.
And then not only that, and then shout out to Jackie, she'll love this, but it's like not only the women's match short already, but we're getting picture-in-picture in the women's match and a full commercial. So it's like it's even shorter than it's supposed to be.
Right. I'm sure it's just things they figure out along the way. Mm-hmm. And they've done a great job so far of figuring stuff out and fixing things on their side. You see that a lot with AEW. Week after week, if there's something you need to fix, most importantly, to listen to the fans, something we don't like, it's changed within a couple of weeks. So we have always good things to look forward to with AEW. But that's going to wrap it up today on the show, guys. Unfortunately, we like to keep it to an hour here on Saturday mornings. So I do want to thank Andrew Zarian from the Mat Men podcast and Wrestling Observer for coming on to Good Morning Elite today.
Dude, this was fun. I'll come on whenever you guys want me. I'm always available.
Good luck with the rest of the day.
Yeah, have fun with the podcast Rumble.
answer the same 3 questions, and we are sorry as wrestling fans that you have to answer these 3 questions over and over again. Just
So
wear
you heard
it
it here
in your
first, guys. Cody Rhodes
says no.
Royal Rumble tonight,
now. You know what?
Andrew.
I want to be the asshole that was wrong, and I want everybody to be like, "See, I told you." I want him in the freaking Rumble.
Yeah.
Number 30. He's gonna be number 32.
Even number 30, dude.
Number
coming
31.
out with the sledge. Dude, he's not only coming out number 30. He's coming out the Hunter's theme with the sledgehammer.
Oh, dude, let's shoot for the moon.
That's the back of a quad.
With Steph on the back of a quad.
Oh, that's great.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. Definitely have you on the show again. Guys, make sure you are subscribing to our Patreon page if you haven't already, patreon.com/ElitePOV. A lot of great tiers. You get a lot of great content, like exclusive shows like Top Girl Talk, which Jamie and Jackie and our team do an excellent job of talking just a lot of great stuff about being a woman in the community of wrestling, and you do a lot of great episodes on there. And we'll have a lot more Patreon content coming soon. You guys get the after show where we kind of let loose after our Thursday night show and just kind of shoot the shit about anything. You guys can submit your questions as well for that. And you guys get that exclusively on our Patreon page. Make sure you're subscribing on YouTube. You're following us on Twitter at twitter.com/ElitePOV. You're following us on Instagram as well, Instagram.com/ElitePOV. And on Twitch, if I get this right, Phil, ElitePOV Clips.
You said Twitch. You got it.
Sorry,
wrong.
not Twitch.
TikTok.
Sorry, TikTok. Yeah,
TikTok.
I pulled a U. But ladies and gentlemen,
watch Kyle do savage dances in bikinis on our TikTok.
Yeah, well, coming
That's
soon.
a lot to promise.
I gotta get into bikini shape, man. Maybe by the summer. But anyways, thank you guys for all tuning in. Good Morning Elite. It's every Saturday morning live at 10 a.m. We'll see you guys next week. Take care. And we're gonna sign off with the best sign off ever. Just remember, you don't need to have a coffee cup to have a coffee.
Yeah.